iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Good evening, good afternoon, race fans. Welcome to Rossburg, Ohio. We got a good one for you today. It's the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series live from Eldora. It's round number 11, only 2 races to go. Myself, Cam Walsh, Randy Chen out, the new Louis, going to be bringing you the coverage here today from the Big E. And Randy, we're not under the lights. It is going to be a nice sunny day here, 83 degrees in the air, 96 degrees in the track in the afternoon as we're getting ready to have some fun here at the Big E. Moderate usage, actually, so we should see a pretty big shift in the track usage as the race goes on.
Yeah, Cam, now I'm not sure how many mid-80s degree temperature clear days we get in Ohio at this time of year, but here in the sim, it's relatively warm and relatively clear out there. You're absolutely right. Qualifying currently underway, and you're absolutely right about that moderate usage. We might be able to see this track really open up. Going on the entry into 3 and 4, things look a little bit slick, but what's interesting to note is that there's good dirt down along the bottom and good dirt along the top. We might just see both sides of the racetrack coming into play.
Yeah, this half-mile track is already proving to be quite difficult. Of the cars I've seen qualify, I'm watching Kevin Holly right now in his number 10 machine. He's already tapped the outside wall twice in his qualifying time. He has got 1 lap in, which he is obviously not happy about, with a 13.679. He was on a fairly good one riding the outside line, but I just don't think the speed's there for what the track is giving you right now. And I think a lot of the cars I'm seeing, it is extremely slick. But what do you do, Randy? Do you stick with a setup like this, or do you make a last-minute adjustment and go, you know what, track's slick, it's only going to get slicked off. Let's put some wing in it, or let's do a suspension adjustment to get that stagger going on the right rear.
There's a couple different ways you can approach it. One thing that is important, though, is that while things look slick on the entry into the corners, look at the middle and to the exit, things look relatively good in terms of that dirt. Yeah, so from about mid-corner away to straightaway to the exit of 2, exit of 4, there's actually good dirt pretty much all the way around. So might be one of those things where you just have to play with it. Do you make any adjustments? You know, that's basically on a personal by person basis. How much faith do you have in that setup in terms of how quick it's going to be? How much confidence do you have to drive that thing potentially through the slick stuff? And if we do get a long green flag run and the track does slicken up, what can you do with that setup? Maybe you do take some stagger out of it, maybe you don't.
Yeah, and Tim Ryan, he went to the top of the pole as he normally does in that number 1 machine. Championship points are on your screen. Alex Bergeron, Austin Sullivan, Steve Kinser are your top 3. People breaking in, Cameron Holla, he's been having a very, very good second half of the season. He's qualified in 6th. But either way, I think there's only a couple of cars right now out on track, as I do see David Heilemann. He's running around the track, and this is something that's actually, if you're watching along with him, he's practicing burnouts for after he wins.
This isn't Monster Jam, no freestyle.
Oh, well, never mind then. But no, interesting to note here, he didn't actually hit the inside pit wall, so forget the point I was about to make, but that inside pit wall is going to be clipping some tires today, especially if they start diving in too wide. Either way, qualifying times are in. So why don't we take a look at our starting grid here in the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series, round number 11, live from Eldora, iRacing Live Race Spot TV and DirtVision.com. All right, let's take a listen to it here as, oh my, it's going to be Tim Ryan. He's going to be starting with a 13.180. Lewis Hewitt will be starting with a 13.226. Ricky Sanders will be starting with a 13.243. There we go. Bob King will be starting with a 13.270. Alex Bergeron, out the qualifying session, he's going to want, as he will start in 5th in his number 5. Cameron Holla, he'll start 6th. Goward Weaver in 7th. Jack Goodyear in 8th. Dylan Selman in the 9th position. Bradley Cash, David Heilemann, and Kevin Holly will be doing that. Either way, so for Tim Ryan, just waiting for his car to be rolled out onto the pit lane behind that iRacing.com official pace truck. And we'll get underway. And Randy, pretty sure they have to go around 2 pace laps.
Oh, Cam, but you're absolutely right. A couple pace laps we're going to have around this place. So 1 mile that these guys will have to pace before all 12 cars will be unleashed for laps around this Eldora racetrack, and it's going to be an interesting one. Do we get some nice long green flag runs to really wear down this surface and see some of the awesome racing we've seen thus far this season, or will be like another one of those nights we've somewhat unfortunately grown accustomed to, where we get a lot of cautions and not much really happens? It's going to be hard to tell. I will say one thing that's interesting is that the spread of the ERT cars is pretty big. You got one of them on pole, then to go back to the next ERT car, you have to go back to Cam Paula in 6th, then Jock Goodyear in 8th. So 3 of them out there on the track, 1 of them in the top 1, and then all the rest of them outside the top 5.
1 in the top 1. That's good. It's
I'm
good
technically correct.
Good metrics. Good metrics here on iRacing Live. But either way, we've got, 5 Australians, 6 Americans, and 1 Canadian taking the test here at Eldora Speedway, Roxburgh, Ohio. No, there's no, there are no birds. Birds can't drive 410 wing sprint cars. Heck, I can't drive a 410 wing sprint car, though it does have a wing in the name, so. By the way, Tim Ryan, they're going to go out to the starter stand one final time before we get this show on the road. Of course, you're watching iRacing Live, Race Spot TV, and DirtVision.com, and it has been absolutely a grand old time bringing you guys the races week in, week out. We've only got 2 more times to do this before the season is going to come to a close. Tim Ryan is going to be taking us to the green from a safe distance from the rear end of that official pace truck. Perhaps the emissions would be too much for him. Either way, Tim Ryan, he waits 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. We almost get as bad a start as we did at the end of Williams Grove, but Tim Ryan manages to get away as they're going 3 wide into corner number 1. It is not going
we already got a car race right. Yeah.
And what will happen, Dylan Sullivan, he, at the very last moment, ends up on his side.
Not sure what happened there. Alex tried to kind of pull the same game he tried to pull at Williams Grove. I have to recall that Weaver. Well, I
think Howard Weaver. Well, I know Bergeron went to the inside. He tried something spiffy, but Weaver, I think, just lost it on the exit. I think he even apologized to Cameron Holly. He came up to hit Holla. He saved the car, but Dylan had nowhere to go, and once they made contact with Dylan, he just literally got tapped by everybody in
Yeah, that really, not much Dylan can really do there, but Howard unfortunately driving through the slick stuff, but still Alex trying to force it 3 wide like that. Second time in a couple weeks we've seen that. That's questionable.
He's getting aggressive. Look, I'm all right with it in a sense because it worked out, but it is pretty aggressive here, as the cars are still not behind the pace truck. Pace truck is, they have to look with binoculars, I think, to find the team. There they are, as they are now locked up. Tim Ryan, well, easy way to knock off a couple of laps here. So what would have been a 30-lap race, now it looks like it's going to be a 25-lap race.
Yeah, we're going to knock a handful of laps off here, as I believe the lights on the safety truck should go out this time through, and indeed they do. So we'll be green here at a half mile, and hopefully we can keep things a little bit clear. Hopefully no major mistakes coming through, and hopefully we keep it 2 wide for the restart. Bergeron's up along the top, so it's going to be hard to get underneath someone from up there.
Yes, it is. They're going to stack them 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, and we will see what we can do. Here is Tim Ryan. He is pushing Ricky Sanders up the track. He made a little bit of Nerf bar to Nerf bar contact going up here. Tim Ryan, he's waiting for the safety truck to pull inside of the safety pit lane. He'll punch it. He'll pin the 410 wing sprint car. We are green here at Eldora Speedway.
Much better restart this time, and you see already half the field goes to the top, half of it goes to the bottom. We got Ricky Sanders trying to work the bottom, didn't work out. Now he goes back to the top side through 3 and 4. Hewitt runs the middle. They're almost 3 wide for 3rd. And they come off corner number 4, the 5, the 4, and the 7, all racing for that 3rd spot. Sanders trying his best to break away, and Tim Ryan do the same out in front.
Tim Ryan, he's running that high side pretty confidently. Ricky Sanders, he moves to the inside line, going through 1 and 2, stays high 3 and 4. Here comes Lewis Hewitt, and here comes Bob King. Massive slider on Howard Weaver. Weaver manages to get by, and Bob King actually loses it. He'll lose the front wing, and he will end up having an accident. Will he be able to save it and pull it off of the track before it gets a yellow out? Yes, it will stay green, so thank you, Bob King. Tim Ryan and Alex A. Bergeron now, because Ricky Sanders might be losing the position. Alex Bergeron holds back to 3rd, and Ricky Sanders stays in 2nd.
Also got a big slider coming in from Jock Goodyear. This is also on Howard Weaver. This one's clean, but he doesn't have the spot yet. Weaver fights back down on the inside through 1 and 2. They come onto the back straightaway, and Goodyear has the momentum up top. Ken Howard dive it down through the inside and slide up in front of that Australian Jock Goodyear. No, he will not. So Goodyear seems to have that spot away from Weaver, and now he's going to set his sights on Lucas Hewitt. All the while, your top three gas staying relatively stagnant. Hewitt also looks to the middle of the racetrack, trying to find some traction.
Yeah, everyone's starting to move to the top side. Bob King officially retires his machine. So thankfully we have stayed green here through the last 5 or 6 laps. As Tim Ryan, he is hovering in first position with about a half a second lead over Ricky Sanders. Alex Bergeron is all over the number 2 of Ricky Sanders. And here comes Lewis Hewitt. Hewitt onto the inside. He's trying to take a bite. I think they tried to take a bite out of corners number 1 and 2, but there's nothing there. As here comes Bergeron. As actually Hewitt, oh, they make a little bit of contact, and actually Bergeron pushed to the outside, or pushed to the inside. Ricky Sanders, he pushes it to the outside. He manages to save it, but he's going to lose 2 positions in the process. Lewis Hewitt, on the other hand, he's trying to take advantage.
A little bit of aggressive driving once again there from Bergeron, and they go running through 3 and 4, using the middle of the racetrack still is Hewitt. He's the only one really working down that side of the racetrack. Too. Everyone likes the top, but he doesn't quite get the momentum coming off the corner. Sanders, he tries to dive it underneath Hewitt. 3 wide between Sanders, Hewitt, and Bergeron for that second spot. They're all going to stay line of start in the order they went. Sanders, though, now he's going to throw a slider on Hewitt. He's going to get the spot coming off onto the back straightaway, and he will hold on to it. Cuts the nose off that number 4 machine, and now Bergeron will be next in his sights. But because of the aggressive racing, a little bit of a gap here as we're over halfway, and now Sanders again aggressively down to the bottom, that bottom side of the racetrack coming in strong.
Massive sliders being thrown every lap by Ricky Sanders and Jock Goodyear. Jock Goodyear's there. They make a little bit of contact. Ricky Sanders and Alex Bergeron. Bergeron, he manages to keep the outside line. Jock Goodyear, he is coming into the picture here as Ricky Sanders. He washes out to the top side once again. Now he's got a challenge from the number 3 cars. Here comes Jock Goodyear. I think he might have this slider fairly easily, but here comes Ricky Sanders. On the overshoot, they make a little bit of contact going into 1 and 2. And it looks like Sanders is going to be able to keep that position. Tim Ryan loving this. As long as they can keep contact, they can keep in contact with each other and not him. He should have an easy way of it as we are got 12 laps to go. But Tim Ryan, his last lap at 13.6. Alex Bergeron at 13.55. So Alex Bergeron is almost 1/10 quicker that last lap. So we'll see what he can do here. Bergeron's out on the inside.
A lot of drivers migrating around this racetrack, still looking for traction, and there's still a lot of good hard racing happening out there. We've seen some contact, but none of it really over-aggressive, just a lot of good, solid wheel-to-wheel racing that you tend to get in 410 wing sprint cars. Now Sanders has reeled back in Bergeron, but as I say that, little bit of mistake coming off 4, loses a little bit of ground as Bergeron is reeling in. Tim Ryan got 2 cars up in the wall, 1 and 2. Jock Goodyear as well as Howard Weaver. Caution's going to fly, the 3 machines on his side, and I think that Bradley Cash may have gotten a little bit of a piece of that. Actually, no, but still,
Looks
yellow
to me
flag
like,
second time tonight.
Looks to me like that number 3 machine just lost it. And actually, they both, you know what? I see what happened. Howard Weaver saw the vehicle up in front of him wrecking, so he tried to back off, but unfortunately, you cannot just back off when you're riding the wall at Eldora, and that's exactly what happens. And the rear axle was busted on Jock Goodyear's machine, and that means that we are going to be under the yellow for this time. I will say Alex Bergeron was closing on Tim Ryan, and I think he would have caught him. Now he's just got a restart to worry about, and this is kind of where things get interesting, Randy, because these two, they not only have a history, they've got a couple of seasons-long history of racing each other, but the last couple of restarts here, late in the race, that's been interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of the drivers in these series, both just the Monday group, and there's a lot of good drivers in these 410 sprint cars that they run in the official races throughout the week, and both Ryan and Bergeron, they're both a couple of drivers who've been accused of some restart shenaniganry.
Easy now.
This is going to be an interesting one here. As lights go out, we're going to have a 6-lap run to the end. Ryan on the inside, Bergeron on the top. And what's interesting, Cam, normally we see that inside groove be the sketchy place to run. It's inverse this time, and now that top side where Bergeron is where things are going to be sketchy as they go into 3 and 4.
I would not be surprised if Tim Ryan, he's going to be starting on the slick stuff. He's going to wait till the last second until he gets some grip to go as, okay, we're waiting. No, he'll go. He has a good little patch of jump, and he, in fact, jumps. Not only that, Ricky Sanders jumps as well. So Bergeron, he loses a position as we are under green flag conditions. Once again, with only 5 laps to go.
Tim's one of the few drivers up front who wants to work the top side of the racetrack. Sanders tries to slide up next to him. They make a little bit of contact. Bergeron has to lift way out of the throttle because of that. Tim still trying to find any speed along that top groove of the racetrack. It is not up there, Tim. The bottom side of the racetrack is where it's at. Sanders now underneath your leader once again. Can't get it done just yet, but he's closing the distance now. That number 1 ERT machine looks to the bottom. He slides right up the racetrack. Maybe he doesn't have the stagger to keep it down on the inside on that good dirt. I think that one at Tim Ryan really set up for the top side cam, and inside now, 3 laps to go. He can't make the bottom stick the way everyone else can.
No, Tim Ryan, he keeps hitting the outside line, and he actually collects Ricky Sanders. Ricky Sanders not going to be happy with that one. That's actually going to pull a yellow, and I think that is going to be the race as Lewis Hewitt, he finds himself now in the second position. I was going to say, look out for that number 4 machine, Lewis Hewitt. He was coming on strong, as well as Alex Bergeron. That is going to be your race, unfortunately, finishing underneath the watchful eye of the yellow flag. But Randy, that was an absolutely fantastic final run we had there. But for Ricky Sanders, I mean, he tried, he stuck it all out on the Y, and he just finally nipped it.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, I think, was definitely not the fastest car out there on the racetrack.
No,
he was very good early on. He was very good in the first 15 laps. But I think those ERT cars, this is something we've seen week on week. They tend to struggle when that track goes away. And Tim Ryan, fortunately, this time he managed to just sort of run in such a fashion that really Ricky, couldn't really do much. He couldn't really get enough of a run coming off the corner to be able to make something happen. So Tim he positioned his car very, very well. The way he was running off the corners, he was doing a good job to get traction considering he's running through the slick stuff to the top side of the racetrack. But still, very well done.
Yeah, I don't think that Tim was doing anything wrong here, as I'll take the checkered flag. I will say for Ricky, I mean, this had happened 3 or 4 times before where you can stick a piece of paper between Ricky Sanders' machine and the Tim Ryan piloted machine when Ricky was coming up on those sliders. I mean, it was literally a game of inches. I mean, we could look back to like lap number 28, and you could just see how close Ricky Sanders was getting on the exit. Actually, that's the lap where they made contact, so that's not a good...
Yeah, so they were really close on that one.
Yeah, they got too close on that one. But either way, it was very similar to that, where on the exit, Sanders would come up, and Tim Ryan, the exit wasn't there because the dirt wasn't there. He would almost skirt the outside line. I think a couple of times he did. And either way, some contact going to be made. But either way, we're going to look at the results here from round number 11 of the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series, live on iRacing Live, Raceback TV, and of course, DirtVision.com. Tim Ryan in that number 1 machine, he'll take it 9 minutes and 41 seconds with 2 cautions marked in the books today. Lewis Hewitt, he'll come home in the 2nd position. Alex Bergeron, he'll fight up the 3rd. Cameron Holla, he'll fight up the 4th. Bradley Cash, he'll finish in the 5th position. Kevin Holly, he'll finish in 6th. David Heilman will finish 7th. Ricky Sanders, he'll cycle all the way back down to the 8th position. Howard Weaver will come home in 9th. Jack Goodyear in 10th. Bob King in the 11th position, and Dylan Sebelman barely got started. 30 laps down, he'll finish in 12th position. Decent racing here we had. Randy, I thought things went fairly well. I thought Bergeron, I probably definitely had some speed there, but Lewis Hewitt, I think he was coming on super strong. I mean, the fastest lap from Lewis Hewitt was nearing the end. It was a 13.508. For Bergeron, it was a 5.45. So, I mean, you want to talk about speed. I think that Lewis Hewitt machine is really coming into its own the end of the season.
That's something we've actually seen from Hewitt thus far this year. We've not seen him be, quick throughout the races. Normally we see those VLR cars like the Sebelmans and Bergeron. They're usually quick, some of the quickest cars over the course of the race. You have the likes of the Lewis Hewitt in that group. They tend to be very, very good late on, and actually it's sort of the exact opposite with the RT group, because we've seen them going into the starts of these races, first 10, first 15 laps, while the track is still relatively good. They'll get that car on rails, and you'll see the likes of Tim Ryan, Cam Holla, and Jock Goodyear. They'll pick up some spots early, but as we saw in this race, you get just over half distance, and one of them ended up on their side. One of them who had led the entire way, was definitely not the quickest car on the racetrack, and Cam Holla just got kind of stuck in traffic. So it's interesting to see all these different teams, all these different drivers kind of all ending up in sort of different situations.
Yeah, well, it's not like it ends up on the honor system where the fastest car always wins. They've got to earn it, and for Tim Ryan, I'd almost give him some kudos for being able to win the race when you don't have the fastest car. But either way, we've got Alex Bergeron ready to hop into the Race Spot TV booth with us here on iRacingLiveDirtVision.com. Alex, some good racing here at Eldora. It became really close quarters pretty early on. That the initial start was a bit rowdy. And after that, we had a really good green flag run there. And then towards the end, we had that little bit of a sprint, unfortunately, coming home in the third position when you certainly showed some speed.
Yeah, I did. Wish I could have get second place. I might have got catching Tim at the end, but it was pretty quick. But we definitely had something for him. We had a poor qualifying effort. Was better to be safe than hitting the wall and starting the back. So starting fifth was better than, like I said, starting the back. So we started fifth, finished third. It's good, good race. Good win for Tim and good second for Lewis. Close battle between me and Lewis at the end. I did a little mistake at the end, but just I was better to save the car and bring on trying to get some good points for the championship because I think we're looking good for the champ. So we'll do everything we can in the last round.
And that last round is USA International Speedway under the lights for 30 laps. They're at probably, I think, the favorite, I would have to say, of course. USA International seems to be proving some really fantastic racing, race in and race out, even though, I mean, here at Eldora, I thought things went pretty well. The track really slicked off. It really... take me through when you finally make that decision to dive to the inside or stick to the outside. Are you adjusting the wing and all that?
Yeah, I did at some point in this race. Had some major time trying to figure the good wing position, but sometimes when you see the guys running the top, they're quicker. You try to top, and it's all depend how the thing goes. And you see, I tried to bottom the top, and I found some grip, but not that much, not enough like to be very quick. I mean, I think I did the best I could tonight, and like I said, we had something for Tim, but we're not like it's just we're gonna figure some stuff for next week. I'm sure we're gonna be good, but we'll see how it goes. But it's the competition is very close, and like we saw tonight. So hopefully it's gonna be like that next week.
Yeah, next week, and then we're going to have an off week, and then we'll be back for season number, that'll be basically season 1 of 2018, I think, basically, is what
Yes.
we would probably call it. It looks like we're probably going to be getting heat racing. So that's, of course, speculation, I think, at this point. It hasn't been officially said that it's going to be able to make the build, but it's certainly on the horizon one way or another, so potentially... Next week's going to be the last week that it's just going to be the iRating split, and then we're going to be going to full-on heat racing. So how big of a change is that going to be, where you might not be able to make the A feature?
It's gonna be a game changer, that's for sure. If it does happen for season 1, it's gonna be a big change because we can see different people in the feature, because sometimes we have some bad lucks in the Eat feature, like the qualifying and the Eats. We got some bad lucks, and sometimes we're gonna see some people we're gonna see plenty of different people sometimes. But if I got some luck and if I can make it, just it's gonna be awesome. And yeah, like I said, hopefully the competition will be as much as this season, because it's gonna be awesome for you guys to broadcast the E races. I believe it's gonna be very good.
Plus, I think we're at Knoxville, if I'm recalling correctly, and probably after Knoxville will be Kokomo. Or
Don't say that,
call it.
Kim, until it's officially announced. Don't say anything like that, otherwise
What?
we're on the hook.
No, we're not. There was in a post. There was a whole thing about it. That was what was going to be. Anyways, all right. Let's
Until the promo video's released, it's just a big bamboozle by on the forum.
boy.
That's all it
So
is.
either way, potentially there might be the addition of one racetrack, whichever that might be. So I mean that'll be pretty cool. But either way, Alex, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, for sure. All my sponsor, Team VLR, and for you guys to broadcast every race. Hopefully, well, I'm sure you guys are gonna broadcast it next season, as always, and we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, God willing. So, well, either way, Alex, thanks so much for hopping in the booth with us. And good running, and we'll see you next week for the season finale at USA Under the Lights. That's Alex Bergeron, the number 5 machine, coming home in 3rd position. And Randy, final thoughts here from the Big E?
It was a good one. I'm excited to go to USA next week. Going to be a 30-lapper under the lights. Should be a good one. We saw really, at the intro to this season, that was sort of the eye-opening experience we got when we got some of the latest updates with the dirt going into this season. And USA's sort of, I think, been one of the most consistent and best racetracks for racing. And as always, the words of Cameron Walsh are not official, and the iRacing staff are not put on his. Let's say that Cam isn't the one who decides what's official.
There's also going to be a dirt midget coming, so.
That's announced. That's announced. That's okay.
That was the same post.
Forum posts are not official.
Coming out.
Just ask the latest 49.
Oh, well, that's going back a ways, though. But either way, so we're looking at a bright future on iRacing for dirt racing, and I don't think that, irrelevant to whatever's announced, it is abundantly clear that iRacing is definitely investing heavily in dirt racing. And Randy, I think that the both of us are so very excited for that. So Hugo, let's start that music up and get this thing wrapped up. Put a nice little bow on it here from Eldora Speedway, the Big E in Rossburg, Ohio. We had a good race here, a couple of cautions, and unfortunately finishing on the yellow flag, but that's just how things go sometimes. Either way, congratulations to Tim Ryan and his victory here at Eldora. We will see you all in 1 week's time at USA Speedway. Same bat time, same bat channel, iRacing Live, DirtVision.com, and of course, Racing Spot TV. I've been Cameron Walsh. That's been Randy Chanel. That's Hugo Louis in the broadcast and the production. So we will see you all in 1 week's time for the season finale. Till then, so long.